This is Michael and Andrea's podcast. What we're going to be doing is basically talking about being in a relationship, having some cultural differences in that
Yeah.
relationship, but the benefits and the difficulties with that, you know. You want to introduce yourself, like where you're from?
Yes, I'm Andrea. I'm from Venezuela, and I'm this gringo's girlfriend.
Yep, and I'm Michael, obviously, and I am from United States. You know what I mean? Yeah, probably tell from the accent. But grew up in Georgia, Alabama, then moved to Nashville, where I met Andrea. One of the things we're going to talk about today is language. You know, the difficulties sometimes in that. I speak very, very little Spanish, and Andrea speaks English. It's still something you're working on, you know. But without her efforts in learning English, we wouldn't be here now, you know.
Yeah.
So so it definitely helps. So, what's some of the difficulties, babe, you have with speaking English on a daily basis with me, with other people at work, and stuff like that?
And sometimes Americans speak very fast, and sometimes I don't know what you say. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And it is hard. Like they speak like, hey, like I'm like American. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm still learning English, and yeah.
No, and I feel the same way when I hear Spanish. To me, it sounds very fast.
Yes.
You know, and especially different types of Spanish. Because here in Nashville, a lot of people wouldn't know, but it's very culturally diverse. There's a lot of people from everywhere, especially where we live in Nashville and South Nashville. I know a lot of Venezuelans, Colombians. There's a lot of Cubans here now. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been getting them at the gym, like more and more recently. But you have Central Americans, Mexicans, and there's a difference in the Spanish, you know. And there's difference in English. If you go to New York, it sounds different than Georgia, you know. But I've noticed that the different dialects, like Puerto Ricans and Dominicans, to me, sound really fast.
Yeah, but Cubans are worse for me because they speak so fast. I can't understand a Cuban.
And that's crazy.
I can. I was working with a girl,
Mm-hmm.
and she talked to me in her Cuban accent. I was like, "What?" And she talked me again, like, "What? Okay, yeah." And she said, "I'm asking you something." I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. What you saying?"
Yeah. Well,
I feel so bad. Like, oh my gosh, I can understand. I can understand that Cuban girl.
yeah, I've actually experienced that in my life too. When I was younger, I had a really thick Southern accent, and I moved to Indiana for like 4 years, and people would ask me all the time, "What'd you say? What? And it was really frustrating. You know, it was really frustrating because I'm speaking English, you're speaking English. Like, why don't you understand me? You know, but I would have to repeat myself all the time, but it kind of changed the way I talked. It made me enunciate my words a little differently. And I did it kind of just subconsciously. I didn't really think about it. It just kind of happened. And I changed my accent. Not like all the way, but it wasn't as thick, you know?
Yeah.
So when did you start learning English?
Well, I was like 6, 7 years old, and I have my older sister. Like, oh, one day I'm going to USA and I'm gonna live there, and she started listening English music, and I started like it. Oh, I like English music. I remember Britney Spears start singing Backstreet Boys. What else? I do not remember now, but I like it, and I need to sing the song exactly what they're singing.
You want to sing word for word with what
yes,
they're saying. Yeah.
and I feel frustrated if I can sing very well. So I have to I found the letters and I play the music. I was like start singing,
Yeah.
reading the letters. I like it. I need to speak English, and I have a very good teacher in English.
Mm-hmm.
So he teach me like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came here, I start learning more. But now for me, that was a little bit easier because I have like, something that I already know.
Yeah.
So when I came here, I said, "Oh my gosh, I don't know nothing, but I know the numbers, the ABCs,
Mm-hmm.
colors, animals, but that's not enough."
No.
So I start studying alone. YouTube. I start looking how to learn English faster, and I start studying every
Yeah.
day, like for 4 hours every day.
And I respect that a lot because I know it's got to be a challenge. I can't imagine going to a different country and nobody understanding me. Like I go to Russia and I'm
Oh
just
my
supposed to
gosh.
survive.
That was frustrating for me.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to say something, or people are talking to me. I was like, I don't speak English. I
Yeah.
hate it. Like, no, I need to speak English.
Well, I think it's important though that you took those steps though, and it says a lot about you as a person. Because I know a lot of people here that don't speak any English at all, and I don't understand it. I don't hate them. That's their decision, and I respect it. But to me, it just seems like you're going to limit yourself, and you're going to be put in a bubble where you can't do more. You can't, have different opportunities that other people that do try to speak English will have, as far as like working, business, anything. It seems like you're kind of limiting yourself when you don't want to learn the language. To me, if I move to a different country, my first priority is to learn the language as best I can.
Yes. Well, I meet many people, Latin American people, like they don't have time to study English because they have kids, they have to work. When they get home, they have to cook the food and take care of the kids. And I understand that part. Like they don't have time, and when they have the time, they want to rest.
Yeah.
They work hard. So, but there's still you have to find like at least 1 hour to learn.
Yeah, I mean, because time is real, and a lot of us are limited in how much time we have. But at the same time, you have to try. You have to schedule it out. Because we can all do better with time. That's one thing I've been working on recently is, scheduling and having better habits and doing things like that. And I've noticed in doing that, I'm starting to do a lot of the things that I didn't want to do, and I'm prioritizing that stuff into like doing it now. Let's do it now, instead of dwelling on, oh, I don't feel like it, I don't want to. No, just do it. So if they can change their mindset to doing something like that, I believe that would help them in learning English, and that's going to make their life better. Because what if they're in a bad situation and they don't have their phone or anything like that, so they can't translate, and it's the police or ambulance and they need all this and they can't speak the language. It's not up to the policeman to speak Spanish, because he lives in the United States where English is the main language, And I feel for those people. I feel sad for those people when they're in those situations, because sometimes seconds matter, just seconds on getting help, and if you can't talk to that person, then you lose those seconds and something bad could happen, So I think that people should really focus on learning that. So when you first moved here, you said that you knew some like numbers and you knew the alphabet, which I think that's crucial. I learned the alphabet in Spanish, and that helped me with my bad Spanish to be able to say words to where people could understand them, because I knew, a, e, like how to say the vowels, the consonants and all that kind of stuff. And it really helped me, even though my Spanish is very limited, at least with what I know, people could understand what I was saying. Because I really want to learn Spanish, and I've been trying to do that for 3 or 4 years now, and I do it. The main reason I wanted to do it is because we have a lot of Hispanic people go to our gym, and it's an annual contract. There's a maintenance fee that most gyms have, but I wanted those people to understand that this is a contract, because a lot of people I notice from different countries, they don't think that the gym should be a contract, or they don't understand why it is, and that's just how we do it here. So I'm not saying that it's the perfect way to do it, or they're right, or we're right, or anything like that. But that's just what we do here. And I wanted them to understand what they were signing and all that. So it was really important for me. It wasn't my responsibility to do that, but I felt that I just wanted to do that to help that person and make sure that they knew what they were doing. So I started practicing, just different things like that, with what they were signing. It's un año contrato, like all that kind of stuff. And that really kind of spiraled into me wanting to learn more and more and more, because I've always wanted to speak multiple languages. I think that's so cool, to be able to do that. I think that's really cool that you can do it, because it opens up doors.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, your job now, basically the reason you have it is because you can speak both languages.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a good worker and you're smart and all that, but that door was open because of that. So like we were saying though, you came over here, what, 10 years ago?
10 years ago.
Yeah, and
almost 11.
Almost 11.
Yeah, that was on January 13.
Oh wow.
2013. Yeah.
Oh,
January
wow.
2013.
Dang. Yeah. So yeah, you're almost a few months away from being 11 years. So when you came here, you were limited on your English. I'm sure there was many struggles with that, and
yes.
Working and communication. What was your main, like what was the main thing that made you want to really just dive into English and really understand it on a better level? What was your main reason for that?
Be able to speak with people for real, like I have to speak, because I was on my work. I feel there's Americans, they wanted to speak with me about the job, about the work, and I wasn't like, I don't understand. I feel that I was frustrating. That was frustrating for me, for real. Like, no, I have to speak. I don't like anybody translate for me because I don't feel good,
Yeah.
That's the reason, be able to speak with people.
So basically your motivation was driven by frustration.
Yes.
So, so that can motivate somebody, being frustrated, but a lot of people, they don't make that step like you did. A lot of people would just be frustrated and just kind of internalize it and then just go back. Not back to Venezuela, but I'm saying like they will go and just go into that bubble again with all the Latinos or the Hispanics or wherever they're from and what language they're used to speaking. So that says a lot about you as a person, just that you chose to do that. It's fight or flight, and you chose to fight.
Yeah, and I remember like my supervisor wanted to say something to me, and me with no English, so they have to find somebody to speak both language to translate for me, and they have to wait like 10 minutes. And 10 minutes for me doing nothing, I was like, oh, I hate this so bad. Like, no, I have to speak. I have to learn,
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about a few other things too today. All right, so we've been together for a while now. I've been to your house for Christmas, different birthdays, all kind of little things like that. One thing I've noticed that's different from at least my family, and I would say a lot of American families, is that especially Christmas, we do Christmas Day and it's very kind of close knit. It's like the parents and the kids, because the kids wake up real early, they're super excited, they go open up their toys and stuff like that. But I've noticed with like the Latino culture, it's really the day before, it's Christmas Eve, that y'all really focus on and prioritize over the actual Christmas Day. And it's everybody. Like the whole family comes, cousins, nephews, nieces, the whole thing. And that's, to me, I was kind of like, wow, that's cool. I like that, because it's a big moment for everybody instead of it just being like a little moment, which is a great day for Americans. Like when I was a child, Christmas Day was the best day in the world. Waking up and seeing those presents under the Christmas tree and all that kind of stuff. It was super exciting. That was the only day that kids would like voluntarily wake up early. They didn't want to sleep in that day. They couldn't go to sleep at night, and they woke up super early. But tell me about like the reasoning or why that's a big deal for your family to get together like on Christmas Eve.
Okay, we don't have Thanksgiving in Latin America. we don't. So we take Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve like for family, you know. So that's those days is for all family be together celebrating Christmas, and we do it on Christmas Eve because kids get the presents on at 12 o'clock on Christmas Eve and on Christmas days, you know. So
like when it hits 12 o'clock at night, when it's the 25th officially, that's when you open up presents.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and we celebrate, but that's the reason, like all the family together.
Okay.
On Christmas, and you have like, I think I already said, like we have that family we don't see for years, and they came especially for those days.
Okay, and you said also New Year's Eve is a big day for that.
Oh yeah, New Year's Eve is the same. It's like new beginning. Yeah. Like, you know, like, oh, it's New Year Eve, New York, no, New York, New Year's. It's a New Year's, and we have to start the year like different, you know, like.
Yeah, and we kind of do the same thing, like especially in the gym business, like. We have the resolutioners, we call them, is, you know, they sign up in January, we're going to change and we're going to be better this year. But for us on New Year's Eve, it's more of a party, you know, and it's like we go downtown or we go out and we do things like that. And a lot of times people drink too much, you know, and do things like that. But then it's kind of like, it's the same thing. It's like a new beginning, but they kind of get the bad things out the way on New Year's Eve. So that way when you wake up New Year's Day, might be a little hungover. But you want to start off fresh, you know, which is a terrible way to do it because you're hungover. Yeah. You know, like, you know, it's like, I'm going to start off fresh, but I'm hungover, you know.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't know Americans, but Latinos is like, it's New Year, you know, at 12 o'clock, everybody, hey, Happy New Year, like, more families together, like, hug. It's the first time that we hug everybody because I don't hug my sisters, no.
Yeah. No, but y'all do hug though. That's one thing I've noticed about like Latinos versus like gringos or Americans. Like every day when I see your mom, she hugs me. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not used to that, but I'm used to it now. But initially, I wasn't used to that. Like when your sisters, they'll hug me, or you know, like especially like your nieces and nephews and stuff like that. They always will hug me. And I think that's beautiful. I mean, kids do that generally, but once we hit like a certain age in America, we still hug, but it's not like much. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like really you have to be like a close person to that. I think that's a beautiful thing though, because that's showing care and compassion when you do something like that. And we probably don't do that enough, you know, over here. We're kind of more cold when it comes to that. And I think, especially what I've seen with your family and a few other families that I know, it's more welcoming and warm, you know, and it's like, you're in my house, give me a hug, you know, like, welcome, you know, are you hungry, you want food? And that's another thing about y'all too, is you always ask me every day, at least once a day, did you eat? You know, and that's love though, you know, you're making sure that I've eaten. And I don't know if that's common with all like Latin America, but I've noticed it with like the Colombians that I know. They ask that, you know, have you eaten? Or if I go over there, you hungry? You want food? You know, and that's a to me that's like it's a showing of love, you know, because food is a necessity for life. If you don't have food, you don't live. So I think that if you look at it at the root of it, that's really true love, you know. And when you like, I cook for you, sometimes you cook for me, and I do it, and I like to do it and I prepare it, and I want it to be like perfect. You know, because I love you and I want the food to be like perfect when you eat it. So it's when you're doing stuff like that, you're putting a lot of love into it. And I think that's really cool that y'all do that. I mean, we do similar things like that too. Like you said, we have Thanksgiving. We do, you know, different things like that. But yeah, no, food is definitely a sign of love I've noticed in your culture. And I really appreciate that. So let's talk about food. Okay. let's talk about food.
Oh, I love American food. Yeah. I love your food.
You love it?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite American food?
There's many burgers, ribs. You know, barbecue ribs, steak. My gosh.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I love
Fries.
fries. Oh yeah. I love y'all's food too. Y'all's food is like crazy to me. It's good, but it's crazy. Like not the arepas or empanadas, but like the American like y'all's version of our food is so crazy. Like the hamburgers and the hot dogs. Like when the first time we went out to a restaurant, it was the Nashville Venezuelan food, and we got a hamburger, and that hamburger had everything on it. And when I mean everything, I mean like everything. It's like they had the whole refrigerator in that hamburger. You know, like it was like potato chips. It was like ham, chicken, hamburger. You know, it was so many different levels. And I was just looking at salad. I was just like looking at like how am I gonna eat it? You know, like it was so big, but it was so good though. Oh my god, it was so good. And the cachapas.
Cachapas. Oh my god.
The cachapas. If y'all haven't had a cachapa, get a cachapa. That'll change your life. It really will. I remember the first time I bit into it. She looked at me and my face was just. She looked at my face. I didn't even know I was doing it, but she looked at my face and she was like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "Nothing."
You were like, "Was that what's wrong?"
Yeah, it was literally the best thing I've probably ever eaten in my life. At that point, I was just like, "This is so good." With the queso de mano. And how do you make a cachapa? You get the corn and you blend it?
Yes, just corn we blend with milk and a little bit of sugar, salt, and that's it.
And just fry it, and then you put the cheese on it. It's so good. What's your favorite like go-to Venezuelan food? Like, what's your favorite Venezuelan food?
Burgers.
Burgers? Just burgers. So Venezuelan American, you're burger. Just give me a burger.
Yeah, empanadas, cachapas. That's my favorite.
Now, one thing I've noticed about Venezuelans especially is y'all eat a lot of arepas.
Oh, yeah.
And I love them. They're good.
Yeah.
I love when you make them. I ask you to make them all the time for me. But arepas are like, that's a staple in y'all's diet. Like, that's an everyday thing for most Venezuelans, right?
Yeah, like tortillas for Mexican.
Mm-hmm.
Like eggs, you know, like every morning my mom eats arepas.
Mm-hmm.
And my nephews, yeah, me too sometimes.
Yeah, no, I noticed that as a go-to, and I like them. And you can put anything you want in them. That's what I like about them too. It's like as long as you got cheese in there, you know, cheese, but you can put whatever meat you want. You make the one with the chicken, the green. What is it? What is that one called? The one with the like green chicken. Like you do something with the chicken and like the chicken arepas that you make.
With avocado.
Yeah.
Avocado.
Yeah. That's why they're green.
It's it calls Reina Pepiada arepa. Arepa Reina Pepiada.
Okay, what does that translate to?
I know it doesn't have
Oh, okay. I was like,
so I know.
Yeah.
It's like a queen. I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, and your family they eat those pretty much every day, and I could too, you know, but I don't need to because I'm trying to lose weight. And if I eat too many arepas, I'm not losing weight.
I made some arepas for my coworkers, and there's American girl like, oh my gosh, Andrea, this is so good, Andrea, I'm gonna marry you. I was like, no.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So with your family and everything, kind of touching on that too, you have a lot of family here in Nashville.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's a very helpful. Because when you first came here, it was just you and one of your sisters and her husband, right? And they're two small children at that time. They're grown now. But I'm sure the way you felt then is completely different than the way you feel now. I mean, obviously you've adjusted to being here over that time, but having that family dynamic, you know, having all those people here now to where you don't feel alone.
Yes, I mean, I always have a big family and I didn't know how to be alone, for real. Like, I have 3 sisters and 1 brother, and then I came here, I just have my sister, and she's busy, she's working hard. So, you know, I don't have friends. When I came here, no friends at all. And, oh my God, that was really hard when I came here. Like, I was like, I want to go back to Venezuela.
You almost did go back, didn't you?
Yeah, I almost.
You bought the ticket and everything.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Did you get your money back?
Huh?
Did you get your money back?
No.
Yeah. So yeah, you had bought a ticket, and it was the day you were gonna leave. You changed your mind.
Yes.
What made you change your mind?
I don't know. I just feel like no, I gotta stay here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it the opportunity or?
Yeah, opportunity. Yes.
Yeah, because I know Venezuela. is going through a lot. The people there are leaving. A lot of them are leaving. I mean, it seems like the population has been going down more than it goes up there because of all the difficulties they've had. And the crazy thing to me about that is when we got together, I kind of started researching more about Venezuela just because I wanted to understand where you were from. And there's so many good things there that they could be so successful. All the oil, they have diamond mines, natural resources, just crazy natural resources. And for them to be in the position, it makes me sad, honestly, because they should be doing really, really good. And I think it's, at one point I looked, it was in the early 1900s, Venezuela was like the richest country in the world.
Yeah.
Like one of their dollars was like $3 at that point. You had Americans going down there, and that's why they played baseball too. Because of that time. When the Americans went down there for the oil, obviously, but I was talking to your sister's husband about this, and he was saying that, the American guys that went down there, they would start playing baseball, and then the Venezuelans would see that, and they wanted to, like, hey, that looks pretty cool. I want to play that too. And now you look at it, you have, Ronald Acuna, you have so many, Miguel Cabrera, right? You have so many like amazing baseball players coming out of Venezuela. And I think that's really cool because it's really the only Latin country outside of like Cuba and the Dominican Republic that really care about baseball. Nobody else in South America really cares about baseball outside of Venezuela, and I think that's cool because that's the number one sport, right?
Yeah, number one.
Yeah, because everybody else is soccer.
Yeah, like football here is Venezuela baseball. It's crazy. Like everybody like, oh, like my my team is winning, and I don't know. But this is and for kids, they grow up, I want to be, play a baseball player,
Yeah, they want to be in the Major League Baseball.
Yes.
No, and they're doing it. I mean, my favorite team is the Braves, and we have Ronald Acuna. It's funny, I didn't know he was Venezuelan. For some reason, I just thought he was Dominican. You know what I mean? Like, I just thought he was always Dominican to me. And then when we were talking on the phone one night, and you're like, no, he's Venezuelan. I'm like, what? No, he's not.
Yeah, we were talking because USA beat Venezuela. It was last summer. I was like, hey, no, I'm just kidding. No.
No, but and I was just like, oh, for real. So I like looked it up, and sure enough, he was from Venezuela, and it made me look up all the other players, and I didn't know Miguel Cabrera. I didn't know he was from there. A list of great baseball players have come out of Venezuela, and I think that's really cool. So outside of that, like, what's your favorite thing about being here?
My favorite thing,
or what do you like about America versus being in Venezuela? Because I know there's so many things that you miss about Venezuela because that's where you're from, and that was your childhood and everything like that, your friends. You got one really good friend that's still there, your best friend. But what's one thing that you like about America more than you liked in Venezuela?
I think the system. I love it. I love America for real. Like everything is so much better. Like organized and
So it's more. You feel more structure here.
Oh yes.
Okay. Because a lot of people that are from here would say differently. But I think that. I believe that there's structure here, and it's not perfect. America is not perfect at all, but no country is. We have our own, for sure, problems that we need to try to figure out and fix and get right. But a lot of people from here don't appreciate what they have here.
Yes.
They really don't. Yeah, they don't. They want to complain about the problems and everything like that, and always challenge people to like change their mindset and think. What if you weren't from here? Like, I'm lucky enough to have so many people from so many different places around me that I can have conversations with them about where they're from and everything, and they tell me what. I ask them the same question I just asked you. I'm like, what do you like about America? And a lot of them say what you just said. It's the systems. It's the structure. It's the ability to go do things that I couldn't do at home. The opportunities and everything. And a lot of Americans, especially I see in the younger Americans. And when you're young, when I was younger, when I was in my teens and 20s, I thought I knew everything, but I didn't realize that I didn't know anything at all. But the young people, they see like this country is like it's not good. You know, like they think that I've heard them talk about like I would move to another country, but I'm like, you have no idea what it's like to live in a country outside of America. You know, when we see the same thing every day, we don't really appreciate what we have. And like I said, that's why I love talking to you about it, because it gives me perspective and it makes me feel lucky. You know, from some of the things you've told me, from some of the conversations I've had with different people in different countries. I have an employee that's from Burma and the problems that they have. You know, and I always ask these questions because it helps my perspective. It helps me appreciate what I have, but it also makes me want to do more. Does that make sense? Because I don't want to make excuses. I have the ability, I have the opportunity. There's no excuses. You know, so I think that more people need to have that mindset that are from here, because people are coming here for a reason. You know, they're not going to China. You know, they're not going to Russia, you know, and nothing against Russia or China. I have nothing against them, but they're not going there. They're coming here, you know?
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people go to different places too, but America seems to be the biggest melting pot. What melting pot is like different types of people all coming together. Like just where we're at in Nashville, I mean, there's so many different types of people. So many. I mean, there's so many different Middle Eastern people. There's so many Asian people. There's so many. We got European people, Africans, you know, and it's not from like one area. It's from like the whole continent of Africa. We have Sudanese people. We have people from the Congo. We have people from Nigeria. We have people from South Africa. I mean, everywhere. And I think that says something that we should look at as natural born citizens and be like, we have a lot of opportunity here. That's why people are coming. So let's change our mindset on that, you know? Well, I think we touched on a lot of things today. And this was fun, and I want to do this often, and I think we'll get better at it. You know what I mean? But this is our first one, and I was really, really glad that you came and did this. Do you have anything you want to add?
No.
No? Yeah, no, that's
No.
good. Okay, baby. Well, we're going to wrap this up, guys. Thank you for doing this, baby. Te amo.
I love you.
Okay, baby.